everyone. Welcome to The Composer's Life. I'm Nadia, your host, and today I will be interviewing Amani Roberts. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Nadia, for having me. Excited to be here.
So, Amani, you mentioned that you are a music business professor, a professional DJ, a US Today's best-selling author, and you also create and perform your own music. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, yes.
Lots of things going on. I love it.
Yes, absolutely.
I just want to dive right in and have you tell us a bit about yourself and where all of this kind of started.
Oh, okay. I grew up in the Washington D.C. area in the U.S. and I grew up playing the saxophone. So I grew up playing the saxophone in like jazz band in junior high and high school. I stopped in college, but when I got to college, I saw DJ Bismarcky and I said, "Ooh, I want to do what he does." But at the first time, I didn't think it was a legitimate career. I was very wrong. So everywhere I traveled across the U.S., moving around to work, I worked in hotels. I would go and see all the DJs and watch them and just kind of see what was going on. When I finally got to LA, I first taught myself how to DJ, which really didn't go well. But then I went to DJ school, Scratch Academy twice for DJing and then music production. And then I started to continue to grow my own DJ business. Along the way, I became a music business professor at Cal State University Fullerton. I wrote my first book, DJs Mean Business, which came out in 2020. Then the second book, The Quiet Storm, which came out in 2025. And so I've been kind of working and growing my business and brand kind of all along the way.
Wow, that's incredible. I love the mixture of things that you're doing, and I'm really excited to go into how you balance everything because that's a
Mm,
lot.
it is a lot. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. What would you say if you had to pick one thing? And if you can't, it's fine. What are you most passionate about in what you do?
Yeah, I love to be a professor. Music business professor is what I'm most passionate about. That's kind of at the top of the list.
Oh, that's amazing. And how long have you been teaching?
So it's coming up. It'll be 8 years in August. So a little
Amazing.
like 7.5, almost 8 years.
And remind me, where is your university?
So it's in Fullerton, California, really close to Disneyland, Anaheim, like close to Anaheim, California. So Southern California.
Yeah. So you ended up staying in California when you went out there to learn how to DJ.
Yeah, yeah. I stayed there for 16 and a half, almost 17 years. Now I live in Las Vegas, so I commute back and forth 1 day a week and do some virtual classes too.
Very cool. What made you decide to go to Vegas?
So Vegas is a good place to be a professional speaker and a DJ. And my business and kind of life had hit a plateau when I was in LA for 16, 17 years. So I decided to make the best change possible while still being able to continue teaching.
Amazing. I love
Yeah.
that. I feel like you probably have so much knowledge and wealth of knowledge for people in music business because that's what you teach. So I have a few questions prepared for you, and then you're welcome to add anything else on that you want to. But I just wanted to start with, if you were to give advice to someone starting out in their career writing music,
Mm.
what would you say?
Mm. I would say number one, to sign up for your PROs, your performance rights organizations right away. Number two, I would work on building your own community first, whether that's through like a Patreon, build your Bandcamp, like build your own community first that can like subscribe and support you. View so much advice here. View streaming as marketing because unless you're the top 1 or 2%, you're really not going to make a lot of money off streaming. It'll take a long time. Be comfortable performing because touring is how you can make short-term money, revenue, and get better and just collaborate as much as possible.
That's great. I'm sure you had to really narrow all of that
Oh,
down to
yeah,
fit
so
it
much
in.
advice, so little time. Yes,
That's
yes.
amazing. Well, we can go deeper into things, but I love that for starting out. I think it's great. As people are starting out, and I'm sure that you felt this probably in your own career, as musicians, it feels like there are so many options, especially with, like, do you take the social media route? Should I work on a new album? Should I try and get a job? There's so many options, so much noise in your head as a creative person. How did you kind of find what you wanted to do, and how did you know it was the right thing? Does that make sense?
I believe so. Just kind of trying different things. I had an idea and a feeling that I would love DJing, but I had to kind of get there. I had to, you kind of still have to keep. Now, I didn't, I kind of left my job to learn how to DJ, which I wouldn't advise, particularly in California. So I do like it when creatives have some sort of revenue coming in that's not music related, so that your music can kind of stay a little bit pure and you're not performing and creating to live, because that's when it gets a little, that's when you burn out. So for me it was pretty, I knew what I wanted to do, but it took me 13 years to have the courage to do it. So in retrospect I would say go for it sooner. and and it's, you mentioned noise, there is a lot of noise, and you'll have a lot of people saying, well, why do you want to, the whole starving artist myth, which I think is a myth. Try to be careful about the noise that you have around you, because there'll be a lot of people that will try to dissuade you. But if you have it in your heart to pursue music, go for it. You want to, you don't want to have any regrets. So
Hmm.
that's kind of a long roundabout answer to that question.
Yeah. I like what you said about musicians having another source of revenue,
Mhm.
taking the pressure off. I think I'm feeling that right now
Yeah,
personally, because I this year was like, oh, this is the year I'm going to make money from music. Like, this is it. But it doesn't happen right away. And you do
no,
still need that support so that you can let your music be free and create it as
yeah.
it comes. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can as a musician, you can write songs for other musicians, you can be a session musician, you can teach lessons, you can work in music adjacent to us, teach or work in a music store, so you're still surrounded. So it's not like you have to go, if you're a musician, go and be like a chef or go and work on Wall Street or in the finances. You can find music related jobs so you're still connected,
Hmm.
and that can help you too. And that's what I would recommend, to find some music related work so you're still working and then you're creating at the same time.
Mm, I love that. Um, so in your experience, like personally and teaching what you see, what are some things that you see musicians doing wrong?
Hmm. I think probably the first thing I see musicians doing wrong is they're focused too much on vanity metrics, number of followers on Instagram, TikTok, subscribers on YouTube. Now, I'm a fan of YouTube, so I do think that's a very good platform, but I think they focus too much on the vanity metrics and they don't have a way to grow their own platform. One of the things we teach is kind of, yeah, we'd like to call it Edgar Allan Poe. POE. There's three ways to market your music. There's paid, owned, and earned. And you really want to focus on own. You want to own your audience, which is why I say build your own community, develop a strong email list. It seems very basic and very old, but these platforms can go away at any time. We always talk about the legend of MySpace. We talk about TikTok goes away sometimes for 12 hours. You never know. And you're beholden to the algorithm. The algorithm can change so frequently that it stresses you out, number one. Number two, basically you have to pay to reach your people. Your people don't see your message. Whereas if you have a strong email list and a website and you're blogging, you just, it works. And with the way now it's shifting from SEO, search engine optimization, to AEO, like AI engine optimization, you want to continue to update your own property so that when AI is searching, they're going to find you. Like, they're not really going to find you on social media and recommend you, but when they're searching, they can find your website. Now they can't find your YouTube channel and interviews you've done, which I do like. So that's what I would say. Number one, the biggest mistake is. Number two is that I find that musicians are petrified and scared and wary of investing in themselves. So, for example, I coach a lot of musicians, and the amount of times I hear, "Oh, I don't have the money to invest," yet you're spending money on new equipment, you're spending money on all these other programs, but you don't want to invest in yourself with a coach or in a program. I just think that's a mistake. Like, all high performing musicians, they have coach, they take lessons. Athletes do the same thing. Like, people have coaches and they invest in themselves, programs, conferences. So I think you need to shift paradigm in terms of investing in yourself. I think that that holds a lot of people back. And then number three is pretty basic, but they just kind of give up. It's very hard. You're trying to get 100,000 streams and you don't get anything, and no one's coming to your shows, and they just give up instead of looking at alternative ways to get to your first set of goals. So those would be the three mistakes I commonly see.
Mm, that is such a good point. About having your own place for your audience, I
Yes.
think. That is a
Yes.
very good point. I like that. I think that helps as well reduce the noise around what do I need to focus on. The focus is just on what you have control over, basically, which
Basically,
helps.
like, yeah, like you have your website first of all, and people they might get mad at me because a lot of people love to depend on Gmail for their email address. I disagree. I say you want to get your, like, if you're Josie the singer, well, get josie.com or josiesinger.com. Get your own domain, get your own email address off that, build a website. When people come to your website, make sure you have a pop-up within the first 10 seconds that says, oh, if you want to learn more about me or get this exclusive acoustic recording of my song or a cover, put your email address in here and I'll send it to you. Like,
Mm.
it's not it's pretty simple to set up, and you just want to continue to grow that email list and grow your audience.
What advice do you have for running an email list? Because this is my husband has a company, so I have a lot of knowledge about email lists, and I think a lot of people think like, oh, no one reads their emails, blah blah blah. But it is such a powerful way to grow a business. When it comes to musicians running an email list, what do you recommend in terms of content? How often people send things, keeping people engaged, stuff like that?
I recommend, if you can do it, which I'm trying to get to better myself, twice a month, send out updates. It can be behind the scenes footage. It could be your updated calendar. It could be a new single you've released. It could be an old single you've released. It can be um, maybe asking your audience a question. I'm debating, I'm either going to write a ballad or I'm going to write a fast song. What do you think? It could be inviting them to buy your music on Bandcamp, which can support you even more. It can be joining your Patreon. There's a variety of things you can do, and just can be consistent with it. Musicians are always creating and performing. You'll have shows coming up, or you have videos from past shows. Just sprinkle that in. It could be two or three different items. So you have like three, two, one, you're done. And once a month would be the goal, with the stretch goal being twice a month.
Mm,
Use a
that's a
platform like MailChimp, which is, you have to pay for it, but that's a good way to start. And then as you get a more complex mailing list, you can get a more complex platform. But just start with the basics and just be consistent.
mm, amazing. So let's kind of go into the day to day and how you recommend and also in your own work balance all of the things that you do.
Yeah. So it's different. Like right now, we're in the middle of like the semester, the college semester. So, say for example, if we're recording on a Wednesday, I teach an online class today, so I got to prepare for that. I've taught a couple classes yesterday, so then you prep for that. I will try to bucket my time, basically bucket my time, so I know that for 3 hours I'm going to be doing all school stuff. Then for 2 hours, maybe I'm doing PR interviews. So try to bucket your time, stay ahead. What I'm learning is that a lot of times, if I want to get some things done, maybe I have to leave my kind of office here and go somewhere else just so I'm not distracted. But I recommend bucketing your time, using a calendar so you can schedule blocks of time where no one can disturb you and you can get work done. That's what's worked well for me. And then if you're a musician, I advise my clients, like, if you create best in the morning, then block that morning time a couple days a week so you can create, write, record. Or if you're an evening person, you have a full-time job, do it in the evening, but definitely schedule it out so it's there and you try to make it non-negotiable.
Mm, that's perfect because my next question is what are your non-negotiables?
Yes. What are mine? In terms of, like, that's a very that's a question with a lot of layers to it. I would say, like, keeping your commitments is like a non-negotiable for me. So if we're supposed to work on a Monday at 8 and you just ghost, maybe if there's something happen, we get another chance, but otherwise that's it. So, the keeping your commitments, being a nice human, pretty much. I just like to work with nice, good people. And so if I start to see that you're not a nice person, then that'll be the end of our kind of working relationship. Um, and just resilience, like just being able to hear no and come back and not take it personally. We can work on that though. That's something that's a skill and a muscle that can be developed.
Mm,
I think those are the three non-negotiables. Just and then personally, just be careful who you let in your circle because that can stifle so much creativity if you have the wrong people around you. I've had experiences with that, the wrong people around you that can mute your creativity for months, maybe even years. So I always use the analogy, just be careful who you let in your house. For example, anyone can knock on the door to your house and say, "Oh, I'd like to come in and hang out and do that." But you have a decision to make where they can stay outside on the front porch, or you can talk to them out there, or you can let them in. And so I just really urge people to be really, really uh deliberate on who you let into your house, personally and professionally.
mm, that's great advice. And in terms of like what you actually work on personally between DJing, teaching your books, how do you balance it all day to day or week to week? What do you kind of do for yourself?
Most of my time is spent uh, working for my clients that I, either coach or have done for you music business kind of solutions where I'm pitching them for festivals and playlists and sync opportunities. And then I also, after that, is my teaching, which I have my curriculum pretty much set up, grading papers, which I have someone to help me do that. And then it's just searching for new business, so business development, whether it be DJ business or coaching clients. And then the book kind of runs in the background, although I do have a project I'm going to try to focus on this summer, which is turning the book into a trivia game. So I've been kind of doing some work into that also. So generally it goes my coaching clients first, then teaching my students, and then from there, business development for like DJing and finding new coaching clients too.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I know that you mentioned as well that you have an actual audience of your own with music that you release too. Is that something that you still do, or was that kind of a focus you had earlier on in your career?
That was the focus I had earlier on. I kind of paused. I paused like that when I got into the finishing the book, which was a really, really big project. So I actually paused the creating the original music. And also I used to do a lot of live streaming, DJ sets and game shows and talk shows. So I had to pause those two things. I really had to focus on the book. Once the book came out, and I'm focused now on like promotion, even though it's been out a year, then the trivia game. So I'm still I'm not trying to spread myself too thin. So I kind of had to pause the creation of music, one, and the live streaming, two, because I just can't do it all. And so I don't want to just run myself ragged and burn out either.
Yeah, I think that that's actually a great example of how to do things because, like I said, for me personally, I have so many ideas in my head, and it really does require time and
Yes.
taking the time to actually develop and do them. And sometimes when you try and do too much at once, nothing is
Nothing
actually
happens.
accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took me 4.5 years to write and finish my book because I was in school for part of that too, because it was the thesis when I was at grad school at Berkeley College of Music, and so that wore me out. That book process, like I would be lying if I said I wasn't still recovering from that, and it came out a year ago. But because the hardest part is there's many hard things about writing a book. The first thing is finishing the book 3 times to go through all your edits. Then it's once you release the book, it's promoting it and keeping the momentum going. That's incredibly difficult too. Um, so I really have to be like I have to say, okay, I'm just focused on the book. I have to let some other things go because you can't do everything.
Yeah. What were you studying at Berkeley?
Music business. I got my
Oh,
master's in music business, and
sweet.
so yeah. So that's kind of continued the train moving along.
Yeah. What years were you there? Because I went to Berkeley
Oh, you
too.
did nice. I was 2020, 2021, so it was during the pandemic. So most of mine was online.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I finished out my schooling during 2020.
Oh
I was
wow.
very sad because I was in the film scoring degree,
Oh wow.
and the last semester you're supposed to work with an orchestra in the studios, and I was just on my computer
Oh
at
yeah.
my house.
Yeah. Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
sad.
it was a painful time.
At least you finished because the pandemic, a lot of people just couldn't do anything. They just stuck because it was just petrifying.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'm glad that I was able to do that for sure.
Yeah, yeah, fellow Berkeley grad. I love it.
Yeah.
Woo, yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, going more into kind of building your platform up, your audience, and everything, how do you suggest people go about doing that, finding their people, and in that same vein, networking and finding other people to collaborate with and those kinds of things?
I think networking in real life is probably the most important. Like we could do online networking, but networking is online in real life is the most important because you're meeting people in person. I mean, look at us. Now we just both realize we're both Berkeley alum. Like Berkeley has a powerful, a very, very substantial alumni network. Look at where you went to school for, to network. Look at your local area for different musicians who could be around. And then you could also look at online. I also recommend like associations. So, for example, if you join like either ASCAP or BMI or CSAC here in the US, um, go to their events, both online and in person, go to conferences. That's what I'm talking about investing in yourself. When you invest in yourself as a musician, of course, I'm talking about like get a coach or work with someone in a program, but attend conferences, go out and meet people. When you're attending conferences, apply to if you're a musician to be part of the showcases so you can perform and meet people. You can also go to like songwriting camps, just all these different things that are out there. You look for different grants if you're looking for funding to go. They're out there. You can join different communities online that are on like Slack or Circle that are musician based. Like you just have to get out there, find your favorite platforms and go. And then in terms of building your platform, like just always support other people. If they have newsletters, sign up for theirs. Encourage people to sign up for yours. Be present and to try to get people from your social media platforms like an Instagram, a TikTok, LinkedIn. I think musicians underestimate the power of LinkedIn because the people that can hire you are on LinkedIn. Now, the musicians might not be on LinkedIn, but the people that can hire you are there. And use those platforms to connect. Try to drive people to your website to get their email addresses. Use Bandcamp. The beautiful thing about Bandcamp is when someone buys a single or an album from you, you get their email address. So use all these different ways to grow your platform. When I was releasing my book, I had this quiz. It was which R&B group are you? Because my book is on the history of R&B groups. And so you take the quiz, you give me your email address, you find out what group you are. Just create fun things that people like to do where they'll give you your email address. And if you meet someone, say, "Oh, can I get your information? Do you mind if I add you to my newsletter list?" And people support people. So just have it always top of mind to grow your platform, but always focus on people might find you and start to follow you on social media, but try to get them onto outside the platforms and onto your own owned platforms.
Mm, I love that. Kate. Um, what is something that you have seen change over the years in the music industry and music business that has affected how musicians work?
So I'll kind of answer this two ways because AI is disrupting everything right now. So that's just a huge thing, which it can be a good resource. It can help you with reference tracks and things like that. I still believe you should be performing live. They won't have avatars replace live performing, but it can help you. So that's one way to answer the question. I think number two is kind of what we've been talking about, where the shift from it being label centric, like you can only release your music and go through kind of the label model, to now the shift is more independent model with the labels providing a la carte services, primarily like distribution. They can help you with tour support. They can also help you, like if you're really focused on getting a radio hit, radio play, they can help you with that promotion and marketing. So before you were pretty much almost 100% dependent on a label to first of all sign you and then get your music out there, where now you can get your music up on all the platforms. Someone can create a dance or something on TikTok, get promotion there. You can also get your music set up so that you can pitch yourself for sync opportunities. Now that's a long game, and that takes a long time to kind of get in front of the right people, but you can start it and start to get opportunities for smaller mobile commercials, then work to independent films and go from there. I've seen it shift from being more controlled and focused on you have to be at a label to more independently focused, but you still need to know. Like that's the whole thing about education. You have to know where to go to get certain things, how to approach people. You have to make sure you, because you're the one that's pitching everything, you have to make sure your metadata is tight. You have all your rights, your songwriter splits, everything set up so that when you do get an opportunity, you're ready. So whereas the label will take care of that before you. Now you can do it, but you need to be educated so you can make the right decision. That's the main shift I've seen. And I always like to put AI in a different category because that's like always in the background changing and shifting too.
I had an interview a few weeks ago, and he said that composers and musicians were the first entrepreneurs because they
Mm,
had to go to people to get them to play their music. But I think it's even more true today with what you said, how everything is independent now. We need to know how to make music, but also all of the business
yes.
skills with
Yes.
that, which is a lot.
It's a lot. I would agree 100%. If you're a musician, you are a business. Now, if you treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. But if you treat it like a business, it can pay you like a business, and you have to be very serious about it. Like you are a business. Like there's no jokes about it. And if you treat it that way and you learn about business, then it will benefit you in the short term and the long term. I find you go back to your question about mistakes that musicians make. They don't view themselves as a business. You're a business, you're a brand, treat it as such. You can get partnerships, sponsorships, all sorts of things, but you have to be serious about it as a business and learn, and then it can reward you.
Mhm. I like that. How much time would you say it takes for people realistically to grow to the point where they're making income and building, like, have an audience and all of those kinds of things?
Yeah, it can happen as fast as a year, as long as 7 or 8 years. It just depends the genre, how consistent you are, where you are in the world. But you can, if you have the skill to play an instrument, sing, create music, you can start right away with like a Patreon, something where you can start to get your family and friends to support you, and I'll start to bring in some income. Then along the way, you're touring, people on your Patreon can come see you locally. So I think right away there are some things you can activate. You can sign up for your public performance royalties, sign up with Sound Exchange to get royalties if your music is played on like digital platforms like iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, etc. So there are things you can do in place to start to get slow streams of income in, and then you just have to keep building, keep touring. Maybe you collaborate with people, maybe you work with some like independent movie director and get some placements on there for a small fee. It's just like you're building once again the house. You're building the foundation of your house and just keep building.
Mhm.
Many times, if artists aren't making money, they kind of stop or they no longer consistent, and that's like the dying a death of many cuts. Um, so I think it can be happening as fast as within a year, but to really be sustainable, it's a little longer. I like to share and teach with my coaching clients 1,000 True Fans from Kevin Kelly. If you can find 100 people, no, 1,000 people to spend $100 on you a year, that's $100,000. That's a phenomenal foundation wherever you are in the world to build on top of. Now, it might seem hard to find 1,000 true fans, but maybe not. You get 50 people at a show here, 75 another show. Maybe you get into live streaming and you start to get some subscribers and followers there. And just keep at it. People adding to your list. It's not as hard as it may seem. It just has to be consistent.
Mm. And when you say be consistent, what specific things are you referring to with that?
Be consistent with your marketing, like we talk about email lists. Now you do have to post on social media, so be consistent with that. Set up a schedule, a content schedule. Be consistent with performing. Really be consistent with writing, creating music, collaborating. I think that's something also that's kind of underrated. If you find a group of people to collaborate with, you're going to get access to their audience, and their audience, because you're collaborating with an artist they love, they're going to love you too. And so if you're consistently doing all these things, kind of like, I hate to use a sports analogy, but like blocking and tackling in football, American football, if
Mhm.
you're consistently working on the basics, then it would work. So you block your time, you're always spending time writing, collaborating, marketing, learning. Like always, it takes some time to learn. There's books out here. There's phenomenal podcasts out here you can read. There's certain people that have different platforms you can subscribe to. You just want to stay ahead of it. You also want to pay attention to the major labels, major platforms. Of course, Spotify is celebrating 20 years now, so just look at what they're doing, what new releases they have. Pay attention to YouTube because that's a very powerful platform that I like on social media. So all these things, creating short form video, long form video, that's a lot. But if you can bucket your time and just be consistent and just start building and just don't give up, that's the key.
Mm, that's
So I know
great.
I said a lot there, but that's it. That's what you have to do. Just rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Well, when you break it down, you can break it down into easier steps.
Yes, yes. I know what do they say. It's the way to eat an elephant. Well, although we don't promote eating elephants, is just small little bites at a time. That's kind of
Mm,
we eat the proverbial elephant.
yes.
Yes.
I like it. Elephants are used for lots of things,
Yeah,
like the
yes.
elephant in the room. It's fine.
Yes, yes, good. Thank you for saying that.
Let's talk more about your book and,
Okay.
well, or both books if you'd like to. So, what inspired you to write it and tell us about it, what it's called, all of that?
Yeah. So the first book I wrote is called DJs Mean Business. And there's right there. I just put it up on the screen if you're listening. And it takes you through the time slots of a DJ set from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And every 15 minutes, it relates it to growing a business. So, for example, I like to say 11. So 11 p.m. to 11:15 is the troubleshooting 15 minutes because something always goes wrong when you're performing DJing. You could have dusty needles, computer issues, speaker issues. We always know when we're performing as a musician, the amp will be cracking. Just different stuff always goes wrong, but the music can never stop. In business, you might have thought that a certain product or service was going to be popular, but actually something else is popular, or you have to change or kind of pivot. I kind of cringe when I say that word, but once again, you can never just kind of quit and start again. You have to keep going. So that's the troubleshooting chapter. Then you get midnight, it's prime time. As a DJ, how do you keep the dance floor packed, people singing along? In business, how do you grow sales week over week, month over month, year over year? And
Mm,
so it goes through all that. There's a chapter at the end on feedback because when I would DJ a lot, I would also drive for Uber. So I'd hop in my car, turn on my Uber meter, and a lot of times I'd pick up people who were at the same club or bar I was DJing at, and I'd be like, "Oh, you were there. What'd you think of the music?" Then at the end of the drive, I'd say, "By the way, that was me, the DJ." So I have some cool stories about that. It was pretty funny.
that's cool.
So that's the first book. The second book is called The Quiet Storm: A Historical and Cultural Analysis of the Power, Passion, and Pain of R&B Groups. So my thesis at Berkeley when I was in grad school was why there are no longer any R&B groups, why there are no any black R&B groups. I quickly found out that 99% of all R&B groups are African American in nature. So I just take the whole category and I talked about what happened to the groups, why they disappear, what's going to happen next. And the first 70% of the book was just a historical review of the top groups, R&B groups per decade, starting in the 50s all the way to the mid 2000s. And that's the book there. The cover's here. So, and this book, it came out the first week, made the USA Today bestseller list,
Wow,
and I love it. I'm very proud.
that's amazing. Was
Yeah.
that something you went into Berkeley wanting to research, or did you find that topic while you were there?
I found it when I was there because you have to do like a thesis and a whole project. So I was debating between two: why there are no longer any saxophone solos on pop music, and this was a topic. And I said I don't really want to go down like a Kenny G rabbit hole, so I'm gonna stick with this one because I love it. I play R&B music, and I was like, wow, there's a lot to it, and I'm so glad I chose it.
Yeah. And then, so did it just start out as a thesis, like research, and then you decided to make it into a full book?
Exactly, because my advisors at Berkeley, several of them, were like, you have something here that's more than just a paper that should stop when you graduate.
Mm,
And when you have people that are notable in the industry, as our professors at Berkeley are, and their experience, you pay attention. And if they're telling you that you have something here that you need to continue to pursue this and maybe write a book or create a documentary, you pay attention. You pay attention very closely because they know, because they got the experience, and they were 100% right.
wow.
And yeah, just kind of just you pay attention to the signs, and this was a huge sign, so I just kept going. It was a little bit hard to finish, but I did it.
That's crazy. Was
Yeah.
it a big jump as well to kind of figure out the publishing side of the world?
Yeah. Well, so I had self-published my first book, so I did something similar this time, but I had a much better distributor and had a much better strategy in terms of leading up to the launch, growing. Like the whole book launch strategy is whew, it's a lot. So I had
Yeah.
to, like, you finish the book, Then you're starting to build like your book army to help promote it. Then you're doing press to promote the book in terms of being on I was never on TV before. I was on TV promoting it, and lots of interviews. Berkeley, actually the school, wrote an article about it. So just lining that all up. So release date, reaching out to people individually to buy the book through text messages, DMs, phone calls, doing bulk sales where some people would buy packs of 5 books, 15, 30. Then I sometimes, if I was booking a big gig, either speaking or DJing, I attribute some of the money to book in lieu of fee. So in addition to booking me, they get some books too. So you combine everything in these 3 buckets. That's the distribution, the marketing. Whew, is a lot.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
Yeah,
I can see why you needed to actually take time
yeah,
and figure it all out because
yeah.
that's like, I don't know, it's like similar to music. It's just like learning a completely new thing, but in a different
It's
way.
releasing a new book is very similar to releasing a new album. Very
Yeah,
similar. Hmm.
yeah. So, in your book, what was the most interesting or fascinating thing that you found in your research?
Oh, so
There must
many,
be a lot, but
so many. Some of the
yeah.
ones that come to mind. So I'm a big fan of the group, the '90s R&B group In Vogue. They never had a #1 Billboard hit because they were always competing against like the Mariah Careys, Mary J. Blige's, TLC's, and Boys to Men. Um, the Jackson Five never won a Grammy. It's a famous group, never won a Grammy. That was surprising. Um, and then the research that I did, I wasn't surprised because I did the research in school, Berkeley, but just how much the publications, whether they be like primarily African American publications like Ebony, Essence, Jet, and Vibe, and just how they went away and really hurt groups. For once again, we go back to the Edgar Allan Poe, the earned media, when they would write about them in their publications, when they go away as publications, like they all went away except for Essence. Essence is now on a quarterly basis. They went digital, but just was different.
Mhm.
That really hurt the groups. And then you have the Telecommunications Act of 1996 that was supposed to diversify radio. That didn't happen. Radios went to a playlisting format, so you could be in Seattle, you could be in Boston, you can be in Chicago. You're basically going to hear the same set of songs on the radio. So it
Mhm.
took away local flavor because Boyz II Men blew up in Philly first. TLC was in Atlanta. Destiny's Child was in Houston, and then you had Motown, all the acts in Detroit. So they get really big in a certain area and then grow, but that took away that aspect because they're pretty much playing the same songs everywhere.
Hmm.
Um, so just so much. Those would be probably the 5 things. I never can list just one. Those would probably be like the 5 things that really, really surprised me. One of my favorite facts is that the Isley Brothers, one of my favorite groups, is the only group in history to have hits in 6 straight decades, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. That's unprecedented. Like, that's just wild. I don't know. Most groups can't last 1 decade. They had hits in 6 straight decades, which is just mind blowing. That's probably my favorite fact that I learned through my research.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so interesting, just all of the little things that you'll probably have in your head forever too.
Yes. Yes. Which I'm proud of. Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you like performing R&B music, or you
Hmm.
did.
Yeah.
Um, and we haven't really touched on performing. So we talked about building the audience, having subscribers, people that want to hear your music. If someone were to put together their very first performance, what would you advise them?
I would say, as a singer, I'm going to come from a perspective as a singer, like pick 4 or 5 covers that you love to sing, sprinkle in some of your own original music. Doesn't have to be a long show, 30 minutes, 45 minutes at the most.
Mhm.
Have those available to sing. Try to think about 2 or 3 stories that you can share within your performance that you would say, like, say, for example, you were singing Babyface. That's one of my favorite artists. And you're going to sing Babyface and you're going to sing Where Will You Go? But before you sing, you say, okay, I'm going to sing you one of my favorite covers. I love Babyface. This is how I got introduced to Babyface as an artist. And this song I used to play on the phone when I would be trying to court the ladies that I liked in high school. And so this is a song I would play to them. I'd call them up, I'd play them the song, and then I'd hang up because I was so nervous. Now, this is a true story for me. So,
Nice.
but if you tell that story, it helps to lower the wall between yourself and the audience. People in the audience, even though they might not admit it, they can relate to that, trying to play a song or create a mixtape. and it makes you more human. We're worried currently about like AI and stuff, but AI is not gonna be able to tell a story like that and be able to say, you know what, I played this song for this young lady named Leslie when I was in high school and I wanted to go to prom with her, so I played this song. And you can make up the ending if you want a happy ending, or you could say, and she turned me down, whatever. But
Mhm.
you just share stories about why the covers mean a lot to you and sing the covers. Then you say, okay, I want to sing to you one of my original songs. It's about my dad. Unfortunately, he left us like 7 years ago. I really miss him, but I just want to share this original song I wrote about all the lessons he taught me, with the most valuable lesson he taught me, and then you sing the song. So they say facts tell, stories sell. So if you're sharing the stories about why you wrote the song, and why you're singing the song or why you're singing the cover, it just makes you more human. And as we're in this era right now of AI, the more human you are, the more people are going to like you and want to follow you.
Mm, I love that. I feel like that transitions really naturally as well into like branding
Hmm.
because as a musician, you're your business and your brand as well.
Yes, this is
So,
facts.
yeah, adding in those stories and all of that just adds to the picture of it, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agree.
Do you have any suggestions like while people are kind of figuring out all of that for people to figure out their brand, the look of their website, maybe like their albums, different things like that?
Yeah, I think just for your website, have a lot of pictures, pay attention to the copy. There's a book here, I think I have this book here that really does a good job about branding. And so it's called, let me show it to you here. It's called Story Brand 2.0, Donald Miller. So
Nice.
it's not that thick of a book. You can listen to it or read it. Like, this is a good book to read about brand. I think you should always read about branding. Look at what the favorite brands that you follow and see what they do in terms of branding. Um, Maybe follow some people online or subscribe to some newsletters about branding, but really you just want to make it you. Like for me, you'll see a lot of my little avatar. I have a little cartoon guy with me in a bow tie with my headphones on. And so people know, oh, that's you. Because, I like to wear like bright colors and stuff. So just make sure it represents you, make sure it's authentic to you. And like people know I'm a slow jam guy. I love slow jams. I love a good ballad. I have no problems telling you about it. I love Mariah Carey. You see behind me, I have a poster of Mariah. Where is she? Right over there, I think. So
Mhm.
um just be you and just have that part of your brand. It makes you more human, it makes you more relatable, and don't be afraid to talk about it. Like if you were to ask me, okay, you like Mariah, what's your favorite Mariah song? I like Love Takes Time. I like Vanishing. Those are my two favorite ones. So just embrace who you are, have that be reflective of your brand. It makes you more relatable and more human, and try to have that through line through your media properties, your website, your newsletter, your social media, so people know, oh, okay, they know that's Amani. They can kind of follow it. It's consistent.
Mm, that I like that a lot. Thank you.
Sure.
Is there anything else you want to talk about or
Well, if someone is listening and I've said something that has piqued your interest, I'm always up for a free call. You go to amaniexperience.com/call. I love to talk to people who maybe want to take that next step and level up and make better business decisions. Always like to talk to people. Maybe we can work together. Um, that's the one thing. And just, I guess, finally would say that, in which I try to live too, is that we're not allowed to give up. As musicians, it's very sacred. So we have to go through our ups and downs and just keep at it. It's hard, but don't give up, because the world needs our creativity and needs our music. Someone is waiting for it, so just don't give up.
thank you. Do you have a newsletter as well that
I
people can
do.
sign up to?
I
Sweet.
do. So you can sign up for it on my website. There's a little pop up that'll come up now, and because I'm trying to do as I say,
Nice.
and you can actually get the free audiobook of my first book for that. That's my giveaway. That's my lead magnet. I'm still adjusting that. So definitely newsletter. I try to do it once or twice a month. I'm kind of adjusting it now. I'm kind of going through a change, so it's be a little delayed, but yeah,
Sweet.
yeah.
I
Hmm.
will link both of those links in the episode description so people can find those.
Awesome.
Um,
Thank you.
and is there anything else that you want to promote or you want people to know
Mhm.
about you? Anything like that?
The book, The Quiet Storm, is on all the places you can order your books online, or if you're listening to it, I do narrate the book too. That was a whole nother a lot of work there. So they'll get the book, The Quiet Storm. And on socials, I always promote this last because I think it's the least important, but like at Amani Experience on like Instagram, Amani Roberts on LinkedIn, and it's Amani Experience on TikTok and all the others. So yeah, that's where you can find me on social if you want to kind of take a peek into my world.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much. It's been so enriching, and I've learned so much from interviewing you. I feel
Awesome.
like I don't know, I feel like I just listened to a book.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing everything. It was great to have you on.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Nadia. Glad to be here.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Make sure to sign up for our newsletter, The Composer Studio, for a more behind the scenes look at composing, including a monthly newsletter with opportunities, new podcast releases, and more. See you in the next one.